The Green New Deal is a set of policy priorities that the Green Party is generally proposing to pass in perhaps the next session of Congress. So, just like the New Deal of the 1930s, the Green New Deal would put people to work. We need something that people are calling a federal jobs guarantee, meaning there's plenty of work to be done all around the United States. We need the federal government to step in and say, hey, we're going to fund you to do that work that needs to be done. So we also need a basic income to go with that, so that people are no longer falling through the cracks. So we have a system that works for everyone and makes sure that people can succeed no matter what happens in their individual situation. So tied to that, those are key things. But what do we establish? We establish a national system of healthcare. That gives jobs to nurses, to teachers, to professors, to so many people that are going to go through that process of educating themselves so they can help others. And then all the research that will go into curing these diseases. The government can direct a lot more funds to the National Science Foundation, for example, to fund cancer research.
That's right.
Instead of the $700 billion that we sent over to the Department of Defense, let's send it over to the National Science Foundation, to the National Institute of Mental Health, so that we can cure these illnesses that are just wreaking such havoc. So healthcare will be a huge component of it, and the environment, the green environment that we desperately need. So in my area of Los Angeles, we have a huge number of factories that are essentially causing cancer, birth defects. I mean, this is like, studies have been done on this.
Wow.
And,
they're using chemicals?
Yes, chemicals,
wow.
hexavalent chromium. It's just, it's horrible. It's a horrible situation. Children have so many brain cancers.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
in the communities. So it's just a horrific situation. So we need to turn from those kind of factories that are polluting the environment and hurting our health so much, to a green jobs, green technology. There's so many products that we can base around the green technology, so that we can have a healthier ecosystem and that we can employ people in those good paying jobs.
As far as a huge industry is obviously renewables and alternative energies to fossil fuels. In Germany, they are already working on what Jeremy Rifkin calls the third industrial revolution. I don't know if you've heard about that, Sam, but Angela Merkel is actually on board with that. Currently, as of 2018, 32% of their energy is solar and wind generated. And they're on target with all the technology and everything to be 100% solar and wind by 2040. So the fact that when people say that we don't have the technologies, we don't have the abilities to do it, no, we just don't have the education and the resources delegated for that purpose.
This is, of course, a component of the Green New Deal that we've talked about. We absolutely must learn from these other countries that are paving the way forward, like Germany. I know China has also implemented many energy creation instruments. They go down their roads, and as the cars go through the roads, then there's these tiles that generate electricity. So they're I think they're funding their scientists, their engineers to think of these new ideas. There's underwater turbines to generate. So we need to do that. We need to invest in our engineers. We need to send, like Sam was saying, this idea of the school to work pipeline. In Germany, for example, they have that very strong apprenticeship component to their education and apprenticeship schools.
All of Europe.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we don't have that model here. I mean, we've sent students, tend either college or somewhere else, the military, whatever it is, but we don't have that tradition of funneling young people into those kind of trajectories that we absolutely need. So here in LA, we need a lot more, for example, subway systems right now.
That's
right. Berlin has an amazing subway system. Why can't Los Angeles?
And all of Europe does. I mean, it's just even in the rural areas. As I've talked to, I have a friend in Germany. There's so much access to public transportation everywhere. Mm-hmm. We're so far behind, and which connects to the earlier part of our conversation about all the $700 billion. People don't want to pay higher taxes. They don't want to reduce the military budget. But you can't ignore all these problems, and the money has to come from somewhere. That's just the reality of the situation.